Hello Pisces, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If you're hearing my voice right now, you are in the right place. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Pisces, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the Princess of Wands. This is an energy that just wants to dance, just wants to let loose and have fun, and it's very spontaneous, and I kind of feel like you've been really like cooped up in your life, I feel like you've been disciplined and you've been just really like grinding away at life, got the blinders on, I'm just doing the work under a lot of pressure and really working hard. All work and no play, right? This is the card that wants to play. This is a card that's curious, that wants to doesn't want to have a bunch of responsibilities or a bunch of demands, just wants to go and live life. You want fresh passion, you want discovery. You want the thrill of discovering something new, the thrill of like, I finally figured it out, It's like doing jujitsu and there's this move that I'm just so terrible at doing. But then once you get it, you're like, I got it. Like I just discovered something new and it just feels so exciting. Or when you find that new book that you want to read and you say, this is the one. It feels like we're dancing. It feels like we're doing something. We're doing something a little bit new, and it may be even a little bit risky. Okay. Something we've never done before. You're craving excitement. And there's no need for the long-term commitment yet, right? We're just exploring. Find something that says, I want more of this. Yeah. Anyway, and this could be something, creative. It could be in terms of relationships. It could be a social thing. It could be even a spiritual thing. Okay? We're looking for fresh stimulation and fresh passion. And so I do believe that you've been, really kind of cooped up in your, look at that, Pisces, the moon card for you. Very nice. You're ready to use your imagination. You're ready to get lost in a dark, scary forest somewhere. Here we have a 9 and an Ace of Wands, the Hierophant, and a Knight of Pentacles, 10 of Cups. We have a Prince of Swords, a Prince of Cups, and an Ace of Cups. Wow, yeah. Very, very cool. Very nice. I think that in a lot of ways, a very strict, focused, blinders on, where it's just kind of like it's tunnel vision, I think is really it's taking its toll on you. So I feel like you need a little bit of you need the freedom to look around. It's like when you've been reading for so long or studying so long that when you finally look up and you try to look in the distance, your eyes are a little bit blurry or you can't seem to focus so much. I feel like you've been really focused on something right here, and now Princess of Wands is just up and it's just looking around, able to take in more. We just need we need a break from something, okay? And I also feel that with that tunnel vision, it's kind of preventing you from seeing other ways of doing something. We have the very fixed mind and fixed heart here, especially the Prince of Swords here, the fixed air energy, telling me that right now you need a more imaginative, curious, exploratory way instead of just the rigid focus. There's one way I'm going and that's it, tunnel vision, blinders, It's preventing you from seeing other options or other pathways that are available to you. Okay? Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right over here with our little Tibetan prayer wheel right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, if it'll stay. It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comment section right below the video. Okay. Now, as we look around the room, we see major and major. We see fire and fire and fire. We see water, water, and water. We see a little bit of air and a little bit of earth. Okay? So the fact that there is just the one and one for the air and the earth kind of tells me that, like, we're looking for a new pathway up the mountain, but we're just having a hard time seeing that there are other options out there, and there are other paths that we could be taking, especially with that Hierophant, because the Hierophant is here sort of lording over you and telling you that there's one way to do something. You know, what you need right now is that creative imagination. You need the risk-taking. You need the weirdness of the moon card, you know. The Hierophant is normal. You want to be weird, right? The Hierophant is normal. You want to be weird. And so this is, you know, this is your superpower right now. This is you being uncertain. This is you saying, I don't want the strict, hard, rigid, tunnel vision, blinders, one path only, textbook recipe kind of path. I want the path of uncertainty. We need the path of uncertainty right now because that's the only way you're going to get anywhere. You need the dream, you need the shadow, you need the emotion. You need to feel unsure. You need to go into the fog. You're dancing into the dark, scary forest because it's just like, I'm sick of just being like the same thing, the same maybe routine, or just being locked into that one path, or the one technique, or the one method, okay, the one route to get to the goal. And so I feel like your goal is the same. Okay, your goal is the same. You know why you're doing something, but the how just hasn't been working for you, you know? So right now you need that, like, unsure. I don't know how. I'm going to dance into the unknown here and figure out how. Yeah, I think that you've been having a lot of strange dreams lately. Write them down. Follow them. There's clues there. Okay? Something's felt off about the path you've been on. The Hierophant, it just kind of seems like something's not right about it. You know, there's just, it's not, either it's not working for you, or it just doesn't feel, as rewarding or as flexible or something like that, right? Your intuition is sort of nudging you in a different direction. Again, the goal is the same. The Knight of Pentacles is looking at the top of the mountain. You have the goal. But I think you're looking at a different route to get there. Okay? So you're feeling your feelings more. You're paying attention to your dreams, your symbols, the recurring emotional themes. Okay? And I think you're grounding yourself physically too with breath work, exercise, movement, stretching, simple food, adequate sleep. You haven't been sleeping enough, have you? You got to try to get more sleep anyway. Okay? Try. I know it's not easy. And I think that we also need to face anything that we might be afraid of in the dark, scary forest. Okay, we can name those fears, because sometimes we cling to a Hierophant because the Hierophant is telling us where to go, showing us the path that's already been laid out for us. Okay, it's safe on that path because there are street lights. There are other people on that path, you know. When you're going off trail in the dark, scary forest, there are unknown factors out there. We don't know exactly what we're going to find. Okay? So we have to be able to identify those fears and name them, because otherwise we get scared and we end up clinging to the robes of the Hierophant and saying, please show me the way. Okay? And this, I think, it can become that sort of external comfort zone, you know, where we just follow the tried and true path. That's not innovative. This card needs to become your own spirit guide. Okay? And I think that's kind of what you're hoping for. That's why this card's at the top of the path of the dove, because in a sense, you are hoping for guidance. In that dark, scary forest, we're dancing into the dark, scary forest, and it's kind of almost a paradox, right? How do you find guidance where you go and you dance into the dark, scary forest? And it seems kind of counterintuitive, right? You find yourself by losing yourself, in a sense. You find the inner Hierophant by losing the outer Hierophant. And by going into the unknown, going into yourself, going into your dreams, going into your fears even, and trying, experimenting, getting lost a little bit is how you will find the internal guide. That internal guide, that spiritual guide will appear only after you let go of that comfort of having a preordained pathway, roadmap, blueprint, or whatever the Hierophant, the external, what I'm calling the external Hierophant is offering you. The well-trodden path. Okay? You're going your own way. Won't be surprised if the mystery card is the Hermit card. But that's why the Hierophant's up here, because this is what you're hoping for. I'm hoping for some guidance. I'm hoping for someone to show me the way. Yeah, but no one else is going to show you the way. You have to discover that entity inside of you, that is going to show you the way. Your internal guide. Okay, anyway. The Moon card is very imaginative, and I think right now Spirit's telling you, or the universe is telling you, your internal spirit guide is telling you to get creative. Use your imagination. The unknown is frightening when it's unknown. But once you dance inside of it, you're the flame, you're the fire, you're the torch that's illuminating all of this. So kind of go within and get lost and explore, and even get creative about how you're going to get to the top of this mountain. Okay? And you will achieve the clarity. You will find the guidance that you're looking for. You also have this 9 of Wands here, which is strength. You are much stronger than you give yourself credit for. And because we have the Sun and the Moon connected here, I feel like this is saying that, look, your strength right now, your inner strength, right, is going to be in that uncertainty, in that experimental energy. You're so connected with your purpose right now that you want to use this power, use this strength that you have to find your own way. If you were weak, then yeah, we would need the external Hierophant to just show me the map, put me on autopilot, show me the road, and I'll just follow the road in front of me. It's easy. When I'm weak and tired, then that's of course that feels better. But when you're feeling your strength, you're saying you're confident and I'm powerful and I can do this and I'm resilient. I'm going to go and I'm going to explore. I'm going to go off-road. I'm going to take some side streets, So that Hierophant becomes like the GPS system that basically in your car, on your phone, right? You're using them Google Maps. Wonderful thing, wonderful service that we get, Google Maps, telling us how to get somewhere. I can get from here to there. It's going to show me the most efficient route. Either the one that saves me the most gas or the most time or whatever it is. And that's probably the path everyone's going to take. Okay? Everybody's going to take that route. And it's easier. But if we're really feeling brave, if we're really feeling our Princess of Wands, we're going to say, you know what, today I'm going to turn my phone off. I'm going to turn off the Google Maps. We leave it running in the background or whatever, but just don't look at it. And I'm just going to see if I can find my way. And then I think what's going to happen is you're going to find maybe not the most efficient or the most popular way to do it, but you're going to find the way that feels special and feels right for you. Okay? And so this is that kind of confidence that you have to tell yourself, I can do this. Okay? I can resist that pressure to just ask the Hierophant, okay, I'm lost. Where do I go? You know? So I think that this really is that connection with your purpose. That connection with your spirit, that connection with your soul, your internal world, your imagination, your ability to imagine, your ability to think creatively. Okay? See this, we think of imagination as this thing we have. It's a skill. Imagination is a skill. We all have it to some degree. But a great many of us, we're out of practice. So this is the strength of your imagination. And that's exactly what you need right now. The Ace of Wands here it's the beginning of something, yeah, sure. But to me, it also feels like this is the concentration. And you know that when you spend a lot of time concentrating on something, it means I'm looking at this thing, this task before me. Let's say I'm concentrating on my homework. And I'm not concentrating on anything else. When I'm focusing all of my attention on this one thing, my homework, then everything else blurs into the background. Nothing else gets noticed. Okay, you're so concentrated on your homework that you wouldn't hear, a freight train going through your living room, right? But staying in that concentrated state for so long really gives us that tunnel vision, and I think it really it stresses us out, raises the cortisol level or whatever, and it starts to frustrate us. We feel like we're just being squeezed too much, and you need a break in that concentration, okay? And I think that Princess of Wands is saying, let's take a break from that intense concentration on the homework and let's get creative here. Let's find some other way to do something here to stimulate growth or to find a different way to solve this problem, a different way to get to the goal, okay? Because concentration is good, yeah, of course, but too much of it pointed in the same direction is going to be very limiting. It's like when you stare at one spot on the wall and all you can see is that spot, it starts to change colors, and then everything else in your peripheral just turns white and it just disappears. That's limiting a whole lot of information for us. And with the Moon card here, sometimes this is a narrowing of the psychic aperture. This is a new moon. This is a waning moon. This is a closing of the third eye, right? And so I feel like the Moon card is saying, hey, we've got to pry that sucker back open. Okay, shout out to Tool and the gang. We've got to open up our perception because we've gotten too narrow with our focus. We've gotten that tunnel vision, and now we need to expand. We need to open up this psychic aperture. Okay. And so that's where we have that. Now, the Hierophant, like we said, is your desire for a teacher or for help or for a mentor, for a guide. But see, we're not looking for that external recipe or the external authority. Excuse me, I had to hit the cough button there. The authority that you're really looking for, the wisdom, the teaching, okay, is coming from within. And so with this moon energy and this imagination and this experimentation, you are growing in your own knowledge and wisdom and authority. I think that you're somebody that has kind of like core values, or like a code, like a code of conduct or a building code, a standards, a set of standards or expectations. And so, whose building code have you been living under? Who or what have you been adhering to? What building code have you been following? What path have you been walking? Your own or somebody else's? I think right now we need that experimentation. We need a little bit of that freedom, that creativity, that imagination, and that risk-taking, spontaneity, dancing with the tiger through the dark, scary forest in order to make sure that we're following our own building code. Because what do the princes of the tarot do? They're the builders. This is the life that you're building, the future that you're building. Is it the future you desire? This is the future that you think you're building. This is the future that your mind is building. This is the future that your heart is building. And this is in the position of the worry, the fear, the obstacle, because I feel like you're realizing that the life that you've been building is not the one you desire. Okay, so we're kind of like we're changing the path, changing the route. Yeah, and this Hierophant may be manifesting as someone in your life, a person, an institution, a concept, an egregore that is influencing your path. Okay? It's society. It is the internet. It is your family. It is the church. It's whatever. That's kind of giving you this unsolicited advice, sometimes subtle, sometimes very overt, about your path. Okay? I think that right now this path is about you returning to what matters to you. Writing your own script. Writing your own path. Maybe the goal is changing. Now that more of this energy comes out, whether it's the same goal or a different goal, what you really need to do, and I'm not trying to give you any unsolicited advice though, what your soul, what spirit, what the universe wants you to do is align your choices with what feels sacred to you. The Hierophant is that authority, that spiritual authority that tells us what is holy and what is sacred and what is good. Okay, maybe they're right, but I want to find out for myself. Maybe somebody says, hey, it'd be easier if you did it that way. Maybe you're right. I want to find out for myself. It doesn't mean you have to reinvent the wheel. But it does mean that when it comes to the matter of like the future and who I'm going to be and what role I'm going to be in life and who I'm going to become and what I'm going to be doing, I feel like I got to kind of figure that out on my own. Someone says, oh, you know what, you'd be really good as investment banker. Maybe I would. But I like to think that you know yourself better than anybody else does. This is the guidance counselor. Says, okay, well, you know what? You're going to be a high school gym teacher, and you're going to be an astronaut. And, okay. I never had a guidance counselor in school, by the way. I don't know if they still even exist. But this is that type. That's just to illustrate the absurdity of it. Okay? It's somebody who doesn't know you saying, oh, well, it's according to this test now, you're going to be really good as a grocery store clerk. Okay, cool. Yeah. Life's figured out for me. It takes all the stress away from life. Also takes away all the fun. It takes away all the fear. It takes away all the potential, though, too. And that's why you're tap dancing into the dark, scary forest with the tiger. You're being brave. And you're saying, I'm going to go out and figure out my own path here because it matters to me, right? And the Knight of Pentacles is looking at the future and thinking, who am I, where am I, and what am I doing down the road? You're trying to have that vision of who you are. Are you the grocery store clerk down the road? Are you the podcaster? Are you the YouTube tarot reader? Are you the astronaut? Are you the firefighter? Are you the business owner? What is it that you want to be and what do you want to do? And it could be many things. It doesn't have to just be one thing. I think this is about you having that vision of you. What's the Knight of Pentacles looking at? Themselves, really. Looking at the Ten of Pentacles, or the 10 of anything. Looking at the future, 10 of Cups. Looking at the life ahead of you, looking at the future and asking, is that who I want to become? Having that vision of ourselves in the future so that we can identify, does that feel like it resonates with who you are, who you want to be? Maybe it's the same goal that you've always had. I want to be that person, doing that thing in that place. And then this is you getting creative and finding your own path, your own unique journey to get there. Maybe this is you saying, my goal is different now. I see myself as somebody else doing something different. Okay? And that's the road that you're going to take, and that's the path that you're on. We've got to have that vision. We've got to see down the road who we are, where we are, what we're doing. So then we can work our way back. You got to begin with the end in mind. Because then you work your way back and you say, okay, now I know how to get there. I'm going to figure out how to get there. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It's a great way to support the channel, and it doesn't cost anything, and I really do appreciate that. Now, as we talk about the path of the serpent, we see that 10 of Cups. Satiety, contentment. This is the dream come true life. This is the happily ever after life. This is the life that you're content with. This is the life that satisfies you. This is the life you want. This is how it feels, right? So we say the Knight of Pentacles is looking at the 10. Yeah, you're looking at the 10. That's the picture of your life. I can see the bubbles in the wallpaper. I can see the fibers on the shag carpet. I can see the dust on the mantle. I can see the life, in its high definition details. This is how you want your life to feel. You want to feel connected. You want to feel love. You want to feel satisfied. You want to have meaning and purpose to your life. Okay? You're dreaming the dream. And I think that you're someone who is saying, I'm going to start building the life that I really dream of. The person that I can dream myself, and I can envision myself being, that's who I want to be. And so then we take the builders here, and we're building the life that we desire. Your heart and your mind are kind of now like on the same page, going after the Ace of Cups. To me, that's the summit of the mountain. The mountain, to me, it feels like we start at the base of the mountain. It's at 10. We start at the base. We work our way up to the top of the mountain where there's the Ace right on top. And so at the beginning, it just seems like there's a lot of roads that can get me up there. And now you're experimenting with the road that sort of works for you, and you are aligning your beliefs and values with what really resonates with your soul. Okay? And I think that we've had the blinders on for too long, the narrowing of the psychic aperture, that we got stuck on one particular road toward one particular goal. And I think you're realizing that there's something about it that doesn't resonate with you anymore. Either the goal is wrong or the path to get there is wrong. And so you're now, you're seeking out that wisdom and guidance from within. And like I said, okay, so this is that fixed air energy. This is the thought process. This is somebody that is maybe, not seeing other options. Can't see all the potential pathways that are available to you. Kind of stuck in one rigid way of thinking or believing something. And it may be like we could ask ourselves, what's one belief that I have that if I really thought about it, if I really reflected on that belief, I'd say, why do I believe that still? Whatever it could be. You believe that I'll never achieve that good life. Why do I believe that? And I think really it has to do with fear. It's some kind of false evidence, right, appearing real. And so we end up getting stuck in this way of thinking, and we feel as if there's the problem and there's one right answer to it. It's a math problem. There's only one way to do it, people, you know. And so we're just focused, concentrated, tunnel vision to solve that one problem, that one right way. That's the Hierophant talking. The Hierophant says there's one right way to do it. Oh, okay, you've taken this test. Now you're supposed to be, run an ice cream parlor or something, right? That sounds quite nice, actually. But there is no one right way. There's more than one right way to do it. And I think this is where you're starting to realize that you can be anything you want, and there are a lot of roads to get you there. There's a lot of stuff for you to figure out. Okay? This is someone who is making decisions on logic and on fact and on the results of the test. And it's the math problem. The calculator says I should, be a construction worker. It doesn't work that way. So I feel like you have this very restless Princess of Wands that's just saying, I need to break out of this box that I'm in. Yeah. Anyway, you've got your Prince of Cups as well, which is that kind of emotional builder. Prince of Cups is authenticity. And this is the position of the really like challenging card, kind of the obstacle. Because you're looking for authenticity. Well, we don't have that here. There's the Hierophant, the external Hierophant. The Hierophant is one of these it's the most complex card because it has so many different facets to it. In some ways it feels like you're kind of looking for a teacher or a mentor. You're looking for someone to show you the way. But then also it kind of is like, it's that idea that I just kind of want to fit in. Your authenticity is not so welcomed to the Hierophant. The Hierophant doesn't like authenticity. The Hierophant likes conformity. Everybody cookie cutter. Everybody's the same. It's the sorting hat in Harry Potter. It's like every kid, I know you go in that group, you go in that group, and that's it. That's the way it is, needs to categorize things, and everything is very like pigeonholed. Everything has its place and where it belongs because there's some sacred truth to it. Where you've got this authenticity that's trying to break free. You really are like going against the grain and rubbing people the wrong way, I think, in a really wonderful sense. Because you're breaking out of this box or this shell. And you're not going to conform. You're kind of turning into a nonconformist. But this is the bubble in the ocean. Of course, then the Hierophant is the ocean. Wants everybody to be the way they decide they should be. And if you're a bubble in the ocean, you're a target for the Hierophant. The Hierophant say, no, we don't want any bubbles here. No, you're in the wrong place, buddy. It's a very hostile environment, this big, heavy ocean, and this little tiny bubble of truth, this little tiny bubble of soul, So I feel like you're trying to stay true to yourself, and you're realizing now that you have to break away from something, whether it's the goal or the pathway to the goal, and you're saying I've got to do something different here, okay? The Ace of Cups that we have at the end, well, that is the bliss. That is you finding your soul. That is the Holy Grail. That's why I say the 10 is the base of the mountain, and then the Ace is the top of the mountain. At first, there are a lot of ways to get to the top, and then you're finding not the Hierophant's way, because that's not going to be an Ace of Cups. That might be an Ace of Pentacles, maybe, but probably not even that, because we would probably lose momentum halfway up the mountain, and we'd say, screw that, I don't want to do the Hierophant's job now. But at the first, there's a lot of pathways to get there. And the further up you get, the more narrow becomes the path, because you're learning more and more about yourself. And maybe there is kind of like one right way to do things for you, for your nature. There's a right way that I do things. That's kind of like, that's the pure will. That's the Wu way. That's the spontaneity where it's just like, I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I'm trying to do things in the way that just feels like it's flowing through me. And it doesn't mean that like I have one way that I write my name and that's it, you know. No, it's not that rigid thing, but it's just like your handwriting might be different from one day to the next. But the fact is that it's the right way at that moment. You see, there's one way to do it in that moment. The next moment may be completely different, but it's coming through you. That's authenticity. Authenticity is not just saying, well, you know, the way I do it is I mix my mashed potatoes with my vegetables, right? That's the right way to do it for me. Well, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, you're going to want to keep everything separate. I don't know. Depends on what the food is, I guess. But authenticity is being true to yourself in any given moment. It's not about having rules for yourself that says, this is how I do it and I'll always do it this way. Because then you just become that rigid, hardened, calcified hierophant. Authenticity is doing what feels right and natural and flowing in any given moment. And this is that energy flowing through your heart, and it feels amazing. You're going to be so happy with your path, with your life, and with this period of discovery that you're entering into. Your heart is open. You're going to feel emotionally renewed. Love is flowing. Spirit is flowing. It's a new feeling. Because I feel like you're entering a new chapter here. Okay? You're letting yourself soften. You're decalcifying your pineal gland, right? You're decalcifying it. You're softening. And I think that you're saying yes to that authentic flow, whether it's the connection, the activity, the practice, the path, the goal. It feels like it resonates with who you are. Okay? You might even be starting or restarting a spiritual or creative practice that fills your cup. Let's look at the mystery card. This is beautiful. This has got to be one of the best readings I've done for you, Pisces. I'm so happy with this. I don't know what this card is going to be. I don't want it to be any kind of fixed energies. But I'm thinking maybe, because we do have a lot of the fixed energies, right? I mean, just the Hierophant is Taurus, that's fixed earth. We have fixed air, we have fixed water. The only thing we don't have is fixed fire. So this will probably be a King of Wands. Let's see. Oh, it's the Death card. Oh, yeah. Well, now we have two Scorpio cards, too, by the way. So maybe I'd watch the Scorpio reading if I were you. But this Death card is saying that, look, I'm supposed to grow and evolve over time, where the Hierophant is kind of stuck in the past. The Hierophant is saying, this is a calcified way of doing things. It's an institution that never changes, never grows, it never progresses, right? And, I like the Hierophant. I like, classics. I like, the old school way of doing things, I like the tried and true methods. I like tradition and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and I think you do too. I wonder if this is about you finding those traditions that work for you. Not doing something because it is the tradition. Doing something, accepting, welcoming the tradition because it works for you. You know what I mean? It's very Procrustean. Finding this tradition and saying, I'm going to cram myself to fit into it. Or saying, this is the tradition. Does it fit me? No, I don't need it. I will find one that does. Or I'll take the existing tradition and I'll tailor it to what I need in my soul. And you can do that, in any kind of system. Belief system, or even religion or spiritual practice. You can make adjustments. It's meant to evolve with you. A true system is meant to evolve with you. Your path is meant to evolve with you. You're changing, yeah, but so is the path. So's the system. So's the tradition. Okay? If it's not working for you, you need to explore other ways, other things, and how do you either abandon it and start your own, reinvent the wheel, or how do you take the existing tradition and alter it? How does it evolve a little bit so that it does fit you better? And this death card is slow and steady progress over the course of time. Things need to change and need to evolve. Change is the only constancy. This is the nature of nature. This is the fundamental force of the universe, and it is change. The Hierophant is not like change. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to do an extended reading. Please click on the link in the corner up here or in the video description. There's another link there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we are all in this together.